Let's give it up for Thomas Emley, everybody. Yeah, look at this guy. Now, Tom, what are we going to be doing today? What are we cooking?
Well, today we're going to start off with a little bit of potato soup, potato chard soup actually, and then we've got some herb and cheese scones. Then I believe Josh is, while I'm preparing that, Josh is going to be making you a lovely salad and some dessert today. So we'll go ahead and get some gloves on and we'll get started here.
Beautiful.
And as Josh said, my name is Tom, and I'm a true Alaskan, born and raised in Kansas. I actually grew up with this guy, and just so you all know, Josh Gold was Tour Guide of the Year last year, so you guys are getting the real deal experience.
Oh my God.
Tour Guide of the Year, Josh Gold.
I don't tell anybody that, all right?
But okay, folks, well, we're going to start off, and how we're going to start off is first we're going to start off by talking about some knives. Now, we have a couple different knives up here. I have your standard chef knife. This is good for all-around utility. Chopping, slicing, anything like that. Most important tool in the kitchen are your knives. So always remember to keep them sharp, take proper care of them, sharpen them before and after use. Now Josh likes to use that knife. I prefer this one right here. It's actually my baby, just got it the other week. This is a Santenku knife, a little bit different. It's basically the Japanese style of a chef's knife. So what we're going to do is, in interest of time, I've got some potatoes already peeled here. Normally we boil these in a lot bigger chunks, but today we got to cut them a little bit finer. Now it's important to remember when holding your knife, you know, some people like to go by the handle here. It's kind of willy-nilly. You don't really get the control and the feel that you need. So what I like to do is I like to take the knife, place it in between my finger here, and grip like that, giving me a little bit more control over my blade. Now also when you start cutting like that, you know most people keep their fingers flat, they start cutting like that. And that's a good way to chop the tips of your fingers off. Believe me folks, I've done it before, not very fun. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to make like a C with your hand. You're going to keep your fingers down and bent like this, securing the food in place, and allows you to cut just a little bit faster. And then when you've been doing this, as long as I have, you can slowly work your way up. And if you spend enough time doing it, okay, look at the ceiling. But it's important to remember, folks, to always practice safety. Do not try that at home. I've been doing it for a very long time, and believe me, I have filleted my fingers off before. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get the potatoes in a saute pan. Now normally if you're at home, you can go ahead and get them in a nice big pot. You don't have to chop them nearly as fine. And you wouldn't use like a saute pan, but you're going to go ahead and add some water. Or if you have time at home, vegetable stock works very well. Vegetable stock, you basically just take the unused portions of all your veggies, boil them down for a couple hours with some salt, some other herbs. Just gives more flavor. Now also while boiling, 101, you always add salt to your water. Does anyone know why you add salt to your water?
So it doesn't boil over? No.
Well, it helps to keep it from boiling over, and that is a good point. But what it does is it A, starts off with a little bit of flavor, B, it increases the temperature at which your water boils. Now increasing the temperature and surface area at which your water boils allows your potatoes to boil that much faster, that much more evenly. So whenever you're boiling something, it's always important to go ahead and add a little bit of salt to that water. And folks, you always have to keep an eye on your potatoes, especially in a saute pan like this. So as you can see, I'm going to constantly just shake the potatoes. Shake them back and forth. Otherwise what will happen is sometimes that water will boil out of your pan, the potatoes will stick to the bottom of it, and then you have a mess that you just cannot clean off. I mean, I'm telling you, like 30, 45 minutes just scrubbing. It's not worth it. And so while that's going, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to make some herb scones. And do you know where Eddie's at with getting the soup going?
Yeah, we'll get the soup going and the scones going, no problem here.
All right. Okay folks, so we're going to start with some scones while I'm boiling these potatoes. What we're going to start off with is some flour. And what we do with this flour, what we're actually going to do is we're going to start with all of our dry ingredients. Now it's important to start with all your dry ingredients because you want to mix them all together because you're going to have your baking soda, your baking powder, your salt, and your sugar. Now, after you get all your dry ingredients mixed together, it's important to mix them up so that when you do mix in that water, you don't have clumps of baking soda, or baking powder, salt, or anything like that that might not have gotten mixed in properly. So it's good to just give it a little bit of stir. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my cheese. Now, the recipe calls for half a cup of cheese, but like downtown Skagway, I like a little bit cheesier, so I add about it. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a few sun-dried tomatoes, pre-chopped. And then Josh has brought me some lovely herbs. We're going to go ahead and add some of that in. We got a little bit of chive here. And it's important to go ahead and chop your herbs somewhat fine. Now the reason you do this is because these fresh herbs, they're super potent. They're a lot more powerful than the dried herbs you'd have back home. And you don't really want people biting into a large chunk of these herbs just because the flavor would be so intense it would overwhelm all the other delicious flavors.
Love it, straws.
Eddie, can you start getting up some soup, please?
Thank you.
Go ahead and give me stones since you've already got stones.
There's the flavor in there.
All right.